The feedback since I dropped the dead drill has been insane. Thousands of you have written in to tell me how you're already hitting the ball better than you've ever even dreamed, and that's amazing. I'm so glad you guys have taken the dead drill out to the course and put it through a proper litmus test, because I'm a huge believer in the old saying, the proof is in the pudding. And now that you know that the dead drill really does live up to all the buzz and hype you're hearing online and from your golfing buddies who are out driving you out there, it's time to start learning how you can perfect each of the 3 core moves that make up the dead drill. Today I'm going to be talking specifically about the transition and how it is in many ways an almost automatic and even unconscious movement if you load up properly in the backswing. Now, of course, you have to understand the squat to square drill on the site and why you don't want to push from the right side at the wrong time, as it's how you lose your spine angle and your tush line and all that stuff I've explained on Rotary Swing. But the stuff is already covered in great detail, so I'm not going to get into too much detail about it. If you want, check out the links. I've put some down in the description for you below. For those of you who already understand these critical concepts on the transition, today's video is about learning how to make it automatic. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to show you how the longest driver in the world, Kyle Berkshire, is using the exact same principles in his swing to regularly drive the ball over 400 yards. Yes, 400 yards. To help you hit your longest drives of your life, I'm going to take you for a little drive on my racetrack at my Colorado Golf Academy. Now, I know there are 2 things that are going through your head right now. First, what the heck am I going to learn about the golf swing by driving a race car on a track? Don't worry, I'm going to show you that. You'll be surprised you can actually learn a lot. And the second question going through your head right now is, what kind of golf academy has a racetrack? An awesome one. So let's go have a little fun in today's lesson. I'm going to teach you how to make your transition from the backswing into the downswing run on autopilot so you start hitting the ball further with less effort than you ever thought possible. All right, guys, are you ready to learn how the transition should happen completely automatically in your golf swing, going from the backswing into the downswing? And when you load up properly during the backswing, like I'm going to show you today, although a little bit different than a normal golf swing, you'll start to understand how the transition happens as a byproduct of loading up correctly during the backswing and automatically sequences correctly in the downswing if we load up properly during the backswing. And that's all about preparation, which we can demonstrate perfectly with a vehicle on a racetrack, because you're doing the exact same thing. In fact, golf has so many parallels to so many other sports that we do. But with the golf swing in general, a lot of times we kind of put it in a box and say, oh, well, the golf swing is just like this and you can't compare it to other sports. But that's not true at all. In fact, I'm going to prove it to you today. I'm going to show you how we're driving on our track at the Academy, of how the transition from one direction to the other happens automatically as a byproduct of me loading up correctly during one part of the turn, and it automatically unloads into the next part of the turn, which is an exact correlation to the golf swing. It should load up during the backswing, and the transition should essentially happen almost completely automatically, effortlessly in the golf swing. So let me show you. Let's take a look and let's go have some fun. All right, so now that we're moving here, we're going to get going, and I'm going to start talking you through some turns that will show you how much driving a race car is like swinging a golf club. So what we're going to do coming into this next sequence of turns is we're going to load up the suspension on the right side right now, keep it loaded, and then let it swing around automatically. You see, I actually didn't really have to do much turning there whatsoever, and I was able to feel how once I had everything loaded up properly, that the car naturally wanted to rotate. The golf swing should happen exactly the same way for the transition. You'll see here I'm doing the left side, and now as I'll unload the suspension and the car automatically turns for me going into the next turn. You'll also notice that my hands are very light on the wheel because I want to have a sense of feel of what the car's doing. You want to have the same sense of feel in your golf swing by having a light grip as well. So I'm holding onto the wheel very, very lightly so I can feel what's happening. I get a tremendous amount of feedback from the steering wheel so that I can feel every single little bump in the road and make corrections the whole time, just because I can feel what's happening.
Go through a little fun turn here, throw the car sideways, hold on, and get the car loaded up for the next turn. So now we're loaded up. All I got to do is let it unload. The car turned for me. In fact, if you look, I actually pretty much had the wheels straight. I didn't have to do anything. It's all about understanding loading and unloading in the golf swing. We're loading things during the backswing so that they unload automatically in the downswing. And the softer I keep my hands, the more sensitive I become to the feeling of when things are loading. And you can see there the car transitioned to the next turn pretty much on its own. I didn't have to do much of anything. When you're swinging properly using rotary swing, the transition from the backswing to the downswing will be pretty much exactly the same. It'll be effortless and automatic, just like that. The car turned on its own. All I had to do was do a little Scandinavian flick there to get her set up for the turn. So when you start playing golf like this and you're letting the golf swing take care of itself just by setting things, oh, little jump there, setting things up ahead of time, your downswing begins to unfold automatically. And so you can just start having some fun and letting the club do the work for you, and you just got to keep your hands soft and load up properly. Oh yeah, there's a fun one. See? Your golf swing should feel a lot like driving a race car, just like this. And as long as you keep everything smooth and you keep feeling what's happening, you can be completely relaxed even though the car and the golf swing may be moving quite quickly. It's all about understanding how to sequence things, and that happens when you load up properly and you let things unload for you in the downswing. Let's finish up one more good lap here. We're gonna go pretty fast into this last turn because why not? Oh yeah. There you go. A couple laps at our Rotary Swing Academy racetrack. It was pretty fun, right? The transition should happen completely as a byproduct of loading up in the backswing. If you feel like you're struggling with the transition and having a difficult time going from the backswing into the downswing, check your backswing first because you're probably not loaded up correctly. If you are, your downswing trigger is going to be virtually automatic. See you later.
All right, so as I mentioned earlier, I was going to show you Kyle Berkshire's swing. Now, if you don't know who Kyle is yet, trust me, you will. This guy's about to be the longest hitter on the freaking planet if he's not already. So, if you're going to go out to Mesquite and watch this guy this year, you're going to be in for a treat because this guy murders the ball. But what's awesome is he's doing exactly what I've been talking to you guys about, not only in this video, but in the other videos on the site. So if you remember in the RST 5-step system, the first video is all about weight shift. And what I talk about there is waking up your lower body and priming your nervous system so that it's ready to move and move quickly. So many golfers are taught to just freeze their lower body in concrete. But here's a guy who not only is one of the longest hitters and fastest swingers on the club and on the planet. I mean, he's swinging over 150 miles an hour with ball speeds approaching 228, almost 230 miles an hour. It's mind-blowing. And look at what he's doing. His first thing is getting his lower body awake and moving and fluid and waking up his nervous system so that he's able to move quickly because trust me, he's about to move really quick. So the same concept that I was talking about in the video where you're loading up one side to help you automatically unload in the other, look what he's doing here. He's communicating to his brain that that's exactly what he wants to do. Now watch as he starts back. He's obviously going to make a huge shoulder turn. So that's the first movement in the dead drills, pulling that right shoulder behind your head. Now here's where stuff gets really awesome and you really start to see the dead drill come to life. Watch his first move. Boom. What did you see? Huge shoulder turn. What's the second movement? Squat to square, right? Look how high his hands are still. They're still above his head. His shoulders are still closed and yet his hips are already square. That is how you do the squat to square move to the extreme. Now, after you do squat to square, what's the third move of the dead drill? Post up, right? So from here, all he needs to do, boom, post up. It's doing it exactly perfect. Right shoulder behind the head, squat to square, post up.
Now all we got to do, everything's been set in automatic right here. We're just going to release the club and let the club go. And by then, everything, all systems are go. If we've done those 3 movements of the dead drill, that's how you can produce prodigious club head speed without working nearly as hard as Kyle is. He's going to crush this thing. We don't need to swing and hit the ball 400 yards like this guy does. But 285, 300 down the middle of the fairway, you can do it without nearly having to put this much work into the swing, just by doing these 3 simple moves of the dead drill. All right, now let's take a look at a student I just had today. And again, proof that you can learn a new swing at any age, because Byron here is 78 years old. And wait till you see the difference in his golf swing. So on the left, here's what he had going for him. Takeaway was going way inside, club was going way inside, and then what you have typically as a result of that is the old right arm push and shove and start losing the lag, start casting, and then as you get down to impact, you have no power, nothing left to hit with. So you just try and rip that chest through to try and drag the club through impact. Now, just by doing the dead drill stuff, check it out. So we got him loading up right, going back, big shoulder turn. Now watch as he comes down, he focuses on his lower body and he does the squat to square move like you just saw. And now look at the difference in the amount of lag that he's been able to maintain versus here. He just starts throwing the club away immediately. You can see that the angle widening first move down. And so by the time he gets down where his left arm's parallel to the ground, look at the difference in the club. Club's way over here and this one. And now it's over here. And all I didn't tell him to do anything with the club whatsoever. I just taught him the 3 core movements of the dead drill. So now as he keeps coming down, we got on the left, we were losing tons and tons of lag. The club's already casted. Nothing we can do to recover from there. But over here, we got all kinds of leverage and power available to us. So as he keeps focusing on those 3 core movements of the dead drill, now he's in a great position coming halfway down or almost before impact versus over here where he's got nothing left to hit with and just has to scratch the club, shove it through impact. Now he's going to let the club release and get free speed as a result of just doing those 3 core movements. If you want effortless power that you've only dreamed of, you have to master these 3 core movements of the dead drill. That starts with the backswing, and it's exactly what I want you to focus on first. For those of you enrolled in the boot camp, you'll note in the handout I sent you that the first day is devoted entirely to learning how to load up properly so that the transition becomes almost automatic. But you'll never, ever experience that feeling until you first learn how to load up properly in the backswing. So I want you to focus on the following 3 videos that I've linked to in the description below. First, the wall drill. It's imperative that your head isn't moving all over the place in the swing. It affects everything. And doing this drill will help you feel a much more compact and a less complicated backswing overall. Secondly, I want you to focus on the chair drill so you learn how to rotate like the pros using the right muscles. And lastly, one of the most common ways that golfers lose power without even realizing it is actually from a flat shoulder turn, which I explain in detail in the shoulder plane video. If you begin to focus on these 3 things in your backswing, you're going to feel like a completely different animal in your backswing. And you're going to start to feel what it feels like to tap into this entirely new, seemingly limitless power source in your swing that you've never experienced. Like Larry Frank did, who wrote in to tell me that he's hitting it over 320 yards now, and he's 51 years old. Here's what he wrote. At age 51 and in 3 days after watching the YouTube instruction, I have gone from hitting an 8-iron 165 to almost 190 yards, driver from 270 to 320 yards. If you want results like this, go over to RotarySwing.com right now and lock in your membership. Start focusing on these videos and do this before our next big price increase, since you'll start playing your best golf ever by learning the one drill that you'll do for the rest of your life.